What's up, guys? My name is Snypersama, but you can call me Sniper. Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have one of my wonderfully charged opinion videos, and that is going to be the monsters I think should be added to Monster Hunter Ascendance. Now, this is definitely a hot topic because there are a ton of monsters, and seeing as Wilds is, I think it's 6th generation, there's a lot of different monsters that are completely available to be added. This list is going to be not only a combination of my favorites, but I actually went and did a ton of research, okay? I did not play Monster Hunter prior to Generations Ultimate. I went and played Generations Ultimate way after the fact, but I didn't play Dose, I didn't play Try, I didn't play any of those back in the day, okay? In fact, the first one that I got super invested in was World, okay? I was one of those. I'm sorry to say. But I've dove into the series since. With me diving into the series, I have found a ton of monsters that are just insane. They're so cool, and I wish that they could get revamped to where we're currently at because of how awesome I think they are. That being said, this video is going to be all about the monsters that I think should be added to each of the different biomes, as well as not only just biome specific, but the favorite ones that I have are also in this list that I would love to see make a resurgence, if you will, into the Monster Hunter Wilds Ascendance DLC. That being said, let's get into the video. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing. It helps a ton. Now, first up, we have the Windward Plains. This is very open. It's very just kind of explore desert, very sand dunes vibe. But there was a couple of things that I really noticed here, specifically that made me really interested in this monster being added specifically to this biome. Not only are they talking about adding Elder Dragons to everything, but the monster that I picked specifically, if it were to get added, new monsters to each of the biomes, was going to be very well fit in. And the reason I say that is because of the nature of the other monsters here. With the ecology of Windward Plains, you have things like Quemetris, Chotacabra, Raydao, Balahara, Doshiguma. Each of those are a little bit odd in their own right, with Raydao being the apex of the area. But because of how much they are going to be adding, I thought that this monster right here, my own favorite, Chameleos, would have been an insanely cool addition. It matches the vibes of the entire area with being able to go invisible, but on top of that, it also has some of the same mechanics as things like Gypsaros with his poison, or the spit attacks with Balahara. And I could definitely see, even though it is an Elder Dragon, it going toe-to-toe with something like a Raydao, vying for, we'll say, control of the area. But this is kind of dependent on if they add things to previous biomes, or if it is just going to be in the newest one. But as far as Windward Plain goes, this was my choice.
Other things live here as well, equally concealed.
The Poison Elder Dragon that turns invisible, the Vanishing Phantom, Chameleos.
Your fate be sealed.
Super cool monster. Absolutely love his design. And at least for me, 10 out of 10 edition. Next up, for our follow-up biome, we have the Scarlet Forest. Now, this place is housed by monsters like Lagiacrus, Mizitsune, Uthduna, Rathalos, Rathian, Congalala, even Yon-Cuckoos, and each of them are just so different in their own right, minus, obviously, Rathian and Rathalos. But the more I started thinking about it, there was one monster, and it's ironically enough my favorite non-Elder Dragon monster in the entire series, that would fit in super well here. Not only does it naturally contend with monsters like Rathalos and Rathian, but there's already a group of monsters here that would also end up being part of the Apex hierarchy, if you will. And what I mean by that is, rather than one monster vying for dominance like Lagiacrus does with all of his lightning attacks, what if we were to add another one? The other one being Astalos. Astalos already flies and contends with all of these different other monsters, and in this type of a forest setting, he is absolutely phenomenal. This is probably my favorite monster in the entire series by a large margin, minus Elder Dragons. Astalos' dragonfly electricity, everything is just so cool, and at least for me, it felt like a near perfect addition to the Scarlet Forest. I mean, look at these attacks. This has got Lagiacrys, Rathalos, Rathian all wrapped into one, and it is absolutely insane what Astalos could do in that biome. Especially because, as the supercharged rare species he is, he contends with everything. Next up on our biomes list, we have the Oil Well Basin, the volcano lava area of Monster Hunter Wilds. And truth be told, it is a very cool area. You're able to do so much here, and it is so expansive that it almost feels like it's the biggest area by a large margin. I don't know if that's just because of the up and downs and the different tunnel systems that you can take, but because of the different monsters that we have here with things like Nuudra, the Rathian and Rathalos again, we have, speaking of Rathians right there, we have the Ajarakan, we have Gypsaros. There are so many different monsters here that it was kind of hard to pick just one that would fit in and become the new Apex. Because although Nuudra is cool, cephalopods or octopus, if you will, are awesome, I think there is something that is also an Elder Dragon that would really lend itself to be really awesome here. I said really a lot right there, sorry. The monster that I chose is Elzelion. Elzelion is an Elder Dragon with a body shape similar to Zinogre, but with different unique features. It was a little hard to get footage of exactly what I was looking for, so we ended up taking it from somebody that was completing a speed run. Shout out SwitchX users, much love. I'll make sure to link him in the YouTube description. But basically, Elzelion is an Elder Dragon that looks like Zinogre or Lunagaron that has the ability to control fire and ice, which means this could be a transitional Elder Dragon that could either be in the Oil Well Basin or it could be in the Ice Shard Cliffs. Because he can control fire and ice elements with each side of its body, with more specifically each of its horns, it can shift its elemental control to either one, meaning if with an updated version of Elzelion, we could have a sick dual type elemental Elder Dragon in Ascendance, which would be really cool. To continue our biome list, we have the Ice Shard Cliffs. Now, every single monster here, minus Gormagala, belongs in this biome for one reason or another. One, they can fly. Two, they have some sort of ice abilities. I guess Arkfell would be included in that because he can be here as well. But nonetheless, every monster here has one thing or another in common, and that is that they are ice-based, which made it really easy to pick a monster. The problem is there's a lot more ice monsters in the Monster Hunter series than most people realize. The one that I picked is a little bit different, and part of it is because it is another Leviathan. I noticed that with Monster Hunter Wilds, they really enjoyed adding their Leviathans. You have Balahara, you have Lagiacrys, you have Mizitsune. There is more than in previous games. Because of that, I wanted to try and find one that was just as cool, but also fit the biome. At least for me, the monster that I landed on was Poka Radin. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it's pretty much a giant seal, and I absolutely love it. It's got similar attacks to something like a Royal Ludroth, if you've ever fought one of those, and on top of that, it's just, like I said, a big seal. It's got two serrated tusks that curve slightly forward, bunch of orange horns all over the top of their head. They're very interesting looking creatures. It was once again a little harder to find footage of, but at least for me, this reminded me of something like Plesioth or Leviathoth, and I thought it was cool, but at the same time, I thought it was just original enough that I was like, you know what, I could see him really fitting in. Alternatively, I was really considering Legiana, but Legiana is one of those that we see all the time anyways, and I feel like we have enough wyverns. Coming up with something like a Leviathan and bringing it back, especially since its last date was in Monster Hunter Frontier, it's been a little while. I thought that Pokerodon, the giant seal, Leviathan seal, would be absolutely sick. And last but not least on our list, at least for the biomes, we have the Ruins of Wyveria. Now, there was quite a few monsters that I really thought could have been possibilities here, but there was one that really stood out. And at least the reason it stood out so much to me was because it doesn't really have anything specific like a lot of the other monsters on this list. All of the other ones had some sort of biome adjustment that made it make sense. This monster, I think I wanted in addition and worked well in Ruins of Wyveria or the Oilwell Basin, truth be told, and that monster is going to be Brachydios. Brachydios for me makes sense here, okay? All you're doing is dealing with the explosions. If we were to get some sort of Guardian Brachydios variant, I think it would work really well. You already have a lot of the Wilk Bursts, you have a lot of the explosions. Each of the monsters that are already here, like the Guardian Ebony Odogaron, Fulgur Anjanath, the Guardian Arkfeld, each of them sits there and does explosions. Each of those explosions matches up with what Brachydios does really well, and I think the addition of him would be a really cool one just because of how well it would seamlessly blend into everything else. Not only are you able to sit there and just watch the Brachydios go through exploding all of the Wilk Bursts, but it might also give it another way to show up. Because Brachydios is a monster that can kind of go anywhere, it makes sense that it could be literally slotted in anywhere. Oilwell Basin, it could be here in the Ruins of Wyveria, it could be in the new area, it just kind of depends. Brachydios for me is a huge, fun, awesome monster that I have loved since I saw it. I didn't even have to fight it before I was like, holy crap, this thing is awesome. And I mean, what's not to love about a giant dinosaur with exploding fists? Come on. Well, guys, that is going to round out my monsters I want added to the Monster Hunter Wilds DLC, Ascendance. Overall, a lot of these picks were to kind of make sense, if you will. I mean, each of the different biomes, they have different things in them that lead the monsters that exist in that ecosystem, in that habitat, to have some sort of bearing on the environment. Because of things like that, I was really trying super hard to not just add monsters that were like oh, this could be here, this would be a cool addition, but things that I could legitimately see adjusting said ecosystem and making it better in the future for what there is to come. That being said, let me know what monsters you guys want to see coming up in the DLC. Maybe some new types, maybe some new monsters that maybe you guys are interested in, like maybe you really like cephalopods. Maybe you want monsters like Shogun Centaur to make an appearance, something like that. Or older monsters that we might not have seen yet. At least not seen yet in the new graphic settings. That being said, that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you all for coming and watching. Thank you all for hanging out. Make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see all of you in the next one. Farewell.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no